My point is, you should have the Xerox of those material that I have shared in the group. That is previous year questions from 2013 to 2021. I have shared it. Take that Xerox. This is one important thing that you should hold on. Don't carry market material, carry the original papers of UPSC, right? I always firmly believe in original papers of UPSC, so that you have to know this, how they are asking the questions. Don't follow market material, don't take ready-made material. Prepare material for yourself, take UPSC papers. That is what the first thing is, along with the syllabus paper that I already said you. Let's look at 2021 question. They have not added here. In 2021, the second question for 15 marker is, examine the importance of behavioral approach in political theory. Examine the importance of behavioral approach examine the importance of behavioral approach. Is the screen visible? Visible. Examine the importance of behavioral approach. Importance of behavioral approach in political theory. In political theory, what led to its decline? What led to its decline? 15 marker question. This is asked in 2021. Examine the importance of behavioral approach in political theory. What led to its decline? This is 2021 question. So they are asking what is the importance of behavioral approach in political theory and what are the causes for its decline. Now look at this behavioral approach. What does this mean? They are asking question on approaches to political theory. Behavioral approach, approaches to political theory. They asked one question in 2021. 2020. Discuss the significance of, now they have asked one another approach, normative approach. In 2021 they asked behavioral approach. Now they are asking normative approach, how it is significant. Here significant of behavioral approach. This is 2020 15 marker. 2019, comment on resurgence of political theory, how political theory evolved. Resurgence of political theory, that is what I said. You should know how the subject has resurged. Resurged means at some point it has reached the bottom and then it surged, right? That is called resurgence. That you'll understand over the evolutional history of political science as such, right? Resurgence of political theory. They are asking not about approaches, they are asking about how the subject has evolved over a period of time. Now see, decline of political theory in 2018, which means after this decline only resurgence happened. So you have to get it. So political theory started at some place, it went down and then it resurged, right? Which means what led to the decline and what led to the resurgence. This is what they are asking in these two questions. Comment on post-behavioral approach. Already you have seen behavioral approach, normative approach. Now one more approach is post-behavioral approach. Now 2014. Comment on political theory is not an escape mechanism but an orders calling. Orders calling. What do you mean by orders? Orders means you have to dedicatedly sit on it. Orders calling. Ordersly you are preparing for UPSC. Means dedicatedly preparing for UPSC. So political theory is not an escape mechanism but not orders calling, which was said by John Flamance. John Flamance. You can use the same quotation while writing political theory about these questions, right? Political theory is not an escape mechanism. Why he has said, in what context he has said, you have to understand this. I will tell you in a while. Now, difference between normative theory empirical theory of politics. They are asking about difference between normative and empirical theories of politics. Normative and empirical. Normative means philosophical. Empirical means scientific. Normative means philosophical. Empirical means scientific. These are the questions from 2012 to 2021. So if you look consistently from 2014, only in 2013 they missed the question. In 2018 they missed the question. But consistently they are asking one question here. Either it is a 10 marker, but in the last 2 years they asked a 15 marker question. Right? Which means you should know something about this topic because one question is definitely asked here. Right? That is first observation. What is the observation from this previous year questions? One observation that we have to get from here is one 10 marker or 15 marker is going to come from this topic. Right? From this topic, one 10 marker or 15 marker every year. You can expect a question. This is the first importance. The second thing is from the previous year questions, what you are going to get is right. Second thing is they are asking questions based on approaches, difference between the approaches, or they are asking a question on decline and resurgence of the so-called subject. They are not asking about meaning of political science. That is what you have to understand. They are asking about approaches. Though it was said meaning, but the UPSC has asked questions on approaches. Now, how they are asking the questions? They are asking the questions on approaches. What are the various approaches that you have? On one side, they ask normative approach. The other question that they asked is scientific approach. First difference is normative and empirical. Empirical means scientific. Right? Now, look at this. In the normative approach and scientific approach, first thing they asked is what is the difference between normative and scientific? That one question they asked. The second one is in this itself, they asked in scientific you have behavioral approach as one subdivision, post behavioral approach as one division. Behavioral approach, post behavioral approach, normative approach. There are three approaches to political science. So they asked a normative approach, they asked a behavioral approach, they asked a post behavioral approach. Look at this. Normative approach, one question. Behavioral approach, one question. Post behavioral approach, one question. Or difference between normative and scientific approach, one question. Right? Now, not only this, one more thing that you have to observe is they are not just restricting to theories. They are also asking one question. What is that question? From normative approach to scientific approach, the subject has evolved. The subject has evolved, right? Now, during this evolution phase from normative, why another theory gets developed? If normative approach is answering all your questions, if normative approach is very much satisfied, there is no need for going for scientific approach, right? If we have went for one approach to other approach, it means this has some loopholes or this has some backflags, right? As a result, we are going to get scientific approach. That is how we develop, right? We evolve over a period of time by overcoming what are the mistakes in our previous things. We want to overcome that. As a result, we develop, right? Similarly, any discipline also develops in the same way. First, it will start at some place, then there will be some loopholes in it, then they will overcome it, then they are going to create some new dimensions. So from normative approach to scientific approach, they are asking how the evolution story is. During this evolution phase, there are some downfalls, there are some resurgence. Now they ask a question, what led to the decline of political science? One question in this journey. They asked what led to the resurgence of political theory, right? This is what they asked. In this context itself, there is one political scientist known as John Clements who has said that political science is not an Political science is not an escape mechanism, but an orders calling, which means if you are trying to escape from your duty, it is going to get declined. Hence, political science is not an escape mechanism, but rather it is an orders calling, which means he is calling or he is speaking in this evolutionary lines. Right? Science is getting declined, or political theory is getting declined at one point, and then it is getting re-emerged. During this transition phase, by observing this transition phase, John Clemens has given a beautiful statement that if you think that political theory is a political theory, if you think that it is an escape mechanism means just by giving theory, and if you are saying my work is over, if you are thinking that it is an escape mechanism, then political theory is going to get declined. Right? If you escape from our duty, what it happens? We don't evolve. We are going to fall. Right? Similarly, if the thinkers, if the scientists of politics, or if they are thinking that my duty is over by just saying this theory, if they are of this opinion, then definitely they are causing decline of the political science or political theory as a subject whole. So they have to think that this is their responsibility. Orders calling. Orders calling means it is a disciplined call. It is a dedicated duty. Don't think that it is escape mechanism, but think that it is a dedicated duty. Then only it emerges. So what is the context on which he is speaking? Again, in this journey from the so-called normative to scientific approach, whatever the journey that they have made, in that decline and evolution or resurgence phase, he is giving these directions. So the one thing from previous year questions, you should have got a fair idea about this subject itself, right? Now, previous year questions are clearly saying, or what is the outline that you get? Leave about marks, but how to extract the content from previous year questions. Now, whenever they are asking about resurgence of political theory, there is one question, right? At that point of time, you can use John Clemens' quotation saying that it is not an escape mechanism but an orders calling. Because of that orders calling, political science started resurgent. Why it started declining? It started declining because the then political thinkers thought that their duty is over just by saying the theories rather than keeping them in practicality. As a result, they thought that it is just a duty, right? They just thought that it is an escape mechanism in the sense just my duty, right? That is what they thought. As a result, subject evolved. Right? Now, what are the things that you get from previous year questions? One is how many marks that they are getting and from which topic the questions are being asked. If I keep it aside, the second component of previous year questions is it is giving a sense that subject starts here, subject ends here. In this transition, in this stages, there is some decline, there is resurgence. That is one outlook you are getting. The third component is the thinkers who has propounded for this resurgence. That is one concept that you are going to get. Now, not only this, what is the next component that you have to get from previous year questions? The next component is how to get information to write the answers from previous year questions. I hope so far it is clear to you people. Now what I am going to say is how to get information from these 5 questions to get the answer. Is it clear, girls? So far what I have discussed, are you able to follow?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now what is the thing? How to get the information from previous year questions? Discuss the significance of normative approach to political theory. I said normative approach is the place where you started from political theory. Then you went to higher levels, that is called empirical theory. Now they are asking what is the significance of normative theory. As they are asking about normatives of political theory, you will write the importance. At the same time, normative approach failed at some point. As a result, new theory has come that is called behavioral approach or scientific approach. So one thing that you have to understand is while writing this particular chapter, questions from this particular unit, you have to understand that whenever they are asking about one approach, this approach has evolved or this approach has some limitations. For example, normative approach evolved and it has certain limitations. As a result, you went to the next phase. If it is about behavioral approach evolved because of failures of something which was present earlier and then it has evolved. Are you understanding? So when you are writing about any particular approach, you should not end with the significance itself. If they are asking significance, don't write. Significance means importance, right? Don't end with importance. If you are ending with importance, your answer is half done. Because though it is having some importance, it is having some loopholes. As a result, the subject started declining and then it started emerging by overcoming that loopholes. So, if the question in this chapter is there, how you have to write? You have to write not only the significance, you should also write significance of this approach. You should also write about the criticism of this approach. You should criticize the approach, criticism of this approach. Why you have to criticize? Because this has failed in meeting the demands at some point. As a result, new theory has come. Hence, criticism aspect should not be missed while writing the answers in this chapter. After writing criticisms, again you have to moderate the statement. How you moderate the statement? You have to moderate the statement by bringing back to the significance. This is the style of answer writing. This is the style of answer writing. Look at this. Let me tell you again by taking this question, 2021 question. Examine the importance of behavioral approach in political theory. Behavioral approach. Now they are asking importance or significance. Terms are same. Significance or importance of political theory, behavioral approach. When you are writing this, you will explain what is behavioral approach, what is the importance of this behavioral approach, how the behavioral approach has risen. Behavioral approach has risen from the ashes of normative approach, right? Your introduction should be in that way. As normative approach has failed, behavioral approach try to bring back the subject into consideration. So your introduction should be from the so-called normative approach. It is like Bahubali 2. How Bahubali 2 starts? From Bahubali 1 end. Bahubali 1 is not completed, as a result Bahubali 2 has. Similarly, normative approach is not in its entirety, hence you have one more approach. So when you are writing about behavior or post behavior, you should start saying that it has certain linkages. As normative approach has failed to meet the demands of the day, the subject has given rise to one more theory, that is called behavioral approach. And then you should write what are the significance of behavioral approach. As behavioral approach has its limitations, one more approach has come, that is called post behavioral approach, which means your behavioral approach too has certain criticisms, right? So this is how you have to write. Give the introduction, have the body, that is importance, and then in the conclusion you write criticism. Not conclusion, pre-conclusion remarks. Not conclusion, pre-conclusion remarks. Write criticisms. Why? Because there is one more thing called post-behavioral approach which was developed, right? So there is some interlinkages in forming the answer. Once that is done, your answer is completely full. That is pre-conclusion and conclusion remarks. Give in an optimistic manner. Optimistic manner is don't criticize and end your answer. If you are criticizing and ending your answer, that projects that we are very pessimistic fellows. No, we should be optimistic, right? It should be like whatever the things are, whatever the challenges are, still we have to be optimistic, and that has to be presented in the answer by coming back to the significance again. This is the style of answer writing. So to put in short, what I can say, what you get from previous year questions, how to write the answer for this topic. How to write the answer for this chapter 1, unit 1. What is the framework? Whether they are asking only one question, approaches and evolution, right? Approaches and evolution. This is what the question is that they are asking. You have to answer only these two, right? Now, approaches, you have normative approach, you have behavioral approach, that is called scientific approach. Scientific is again behavior, post behavior. Evolution, there is decline, there is resurgence. And then there is one thinker who has made some comments, John Clements, right? You have to remember him. Now this is the question that they are asking. Now, so how to write? What is the thing that you are going to get from previous year questions is how to write the answer. The framework of the answer is any theory, you start with introduction, body and conclusion, right? Body or connecting paragraph, connecting paragraph again here, and then it should be conclusion. Right? Answer writing is just like Brahma making human body. I said many times to those people who attended my classes. Answer writing is Brahma making a human body. It will have a head, it will have body, it will have legs. Right? And like a human body, there is neck to connect the head and body. To connect body and the legs, you have torso. So answer writing is having head, body, legs, and it should have connectors, neck, and it should have torso. Right? This is answer. So similarly, just like a human body being created by the Brahma, you have to create in that way. So how it should have introduction, body, connection, conclusion, connecting paragraphs. Connecting paragraphs. Now introduction for this starts with a basic theme. Right? Right, as say for example, if they are asking about behavioral approach, it has evolved because of the failures of something. So start at that place, like Bahubali 2 movie. Bahubali 1, you have to give some introduction so that a candidate, a person who has come to theatre for Bahubali 1, he should remember Bahubali 2, he should remember what are the events that has happened in Bahubali 1. Similarly, you give a short introduction about what has happened in the past. Then come to the behavioral approach. Then you can connect. Behavioral approach try to reconnect or research the so-called subject. Then you write body. What is body? Importance of that. Normative approach, behavioral approach, post behavioral approach. Then write criticisms. Criticisms are must. Then you have to conclude again by saying the importance. This is called optimistic version. This is how you have to write the answer for this question. If you are writing this, you are going to get a beautiful mark. Right? Now, when I say criticism or when I say you prize it, importance means you are prizing it, criticism means you are criticizing it. Right? That is the thing. Now, when you are prizing or criticizing, don't do it from your end. Right? In optional, criticism and praising should not be from my end. Dhananjay likes it, that is why he is criticizing. Dhananjay doesn't like it, that is why he is criticizing. Dhananjay likes it, that is why he is praising. No, it should not be from my perspective or your perspective. It should be from the perspective of thinkers. Thinkers, right? There will be thinkers who has criticized it. There will be thinkers who has praised it. So as this thinker has said, you have to write, as this thinker has said, you have to use the name of the thinker and you have to criticize. However, as this thinker has praised, so write that thinker. This is the way of writing. So don't criticize the subject from your end. If you are criticizing from your end, it shows that you have subject, but you lack the so-called exact phrases or the so-called exact in-depth analysis of the subject. Right? Anyone can write just by looking at the previous year questions. Because of some reasons, normative approach failed. Some reasons, behavioral approach has failed and post behavior has come. Anyone can understand just by reading plainly. They can understand what are the reasons for decline, what are the reasons for resurgence. They might understand this, but how it makes difference between a person who has read the subject and a normal person by writing the thinkers, by quoting the thinkers. Right? This is how you can show the dip mark or you can show your hallmark. This is the thing that I wanted to say. So use thinkers whenever you are pricing, whenever you are criticizing. In the entire optional paper, you have to take the help of the so-called thinkers like John Clemens. That is why I said you have to remember John Clemens and you have to quote that. Political theory is not that escape mechanism but an orders falling. With this outlook, behavioral approach started gaining its traction. If you say that, then it is going to add value. Otherwise, if you say that political science is not escape mechanism from your end, then that doesn't add value. So that is the reason why I said why you have to quote thinkers or why you have to quote subject analysts on this. So this should not be from our end. So this is one more thing that I wanted to say from this. So answer writing will not get completed unless and until you use the so-called until and unless you use the so-called thinkers, analysts of the subject. Don't become analyst by your end. Okay, if you want to become analyst, you have to do PhDs, you have to do some research work, and then you'll become analyst. Now we are just preparing for subject, so don't become analyst. Use the what analysts have said and then present it from their end. This is how answer writing is. More or less, answer writing structure remains the same. for every other topic also, but for particularly this unit, your answer writing has to be like this. Again, I repeat, what is the way of writing? Introduce by giving pre-context. How to remember Bahubali 2 movie? Pre-context. Then write connecting paragraph, like by stating some thinkers. Then write the significance, and then criticize this. How to criticize? Not from your end. There will be some thinkers who has criticized it. Use them, right? And then conclude. This is how you have to write this chapter. Now, how to remember these thinkers, right? If these thinkers are Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, then it is very easy to remember the names because they are our people. But unfortunately, political science as a subject has evolved in West. This is not a Indian context, right? Only Kautilya is political thinker in India, but rest of the things, everything is developed in West. As a result, the names will be very difficult to remember, like John Clemens. Look at this. Right, if it is K. Paul, we will remember, but John Clemens, it is very difficult to remember. Right, so what you have to do, that is the reason why I asked you to maintain a separate notebook, a small notebook where you will be writing about these fellows. John Clemens. See, even my spelling is also wrong, right? So even spelling mistakes will come if you don't practice. Hence, thinkers, these fellows has to be remembered. The names have to be remembered. There is no escape mechanism for you again from remembering the names. If you escape, then it is going to be very difficult. So you have to be orders in recalling the names. So John Clemens, you have to write these type of things in separate book. John Clemens said this, or whenever you are writing this unit, you have to specially dedicate some pages for unit 1, who are the political commenters who have commented on this. The rest of the story we can write. Story we can write, but thinkers we cannot write. So it is a combination of the story and thinkers, right? This is the third observation that I wanted to make. Right. So again, look at this: significance of normative approach, resurgence of political theory, decline of political theory, political behavioral approach. Political theory is not an escape mechanism, but an orders calling. Difference between normative approach and political theory. So this is what the context, or this is what the information that you are going to get from previous year questions. After this, look at the terms. Again, just like this fellow John Clemens or thinkers, every subject has subject sensitive words. Always I say either it is GS or political science or international relations or constitution. Every subject, every module will have its own way of using the terms. Say for example, if it is economy, if they are asking about how to develop the economy, or if they are asking about human development, you have to write some economic terms like demography, demographic dividend. If they are asking about human development in society, you have to write about social aspects such as family, role of teachers, role of school. So your answer will be directed by using social institutions which make up the human beings if it is asked in society. But if it is asked in economy, you'll be writing different terms: demography, demographic dividend, inclusive growth. So they are something which is related to economy. Similarly, this is called subject sensitive words. Every subject will have subject sensitive words, and you should be good at using subject sensitive words. Similarly, look at this. Resurgence is one good term that you can use, right? Escape, not an escape mechanism. Orders calling, normative, empirical, these are the terms that you have to use. Political theory, right? These are the terms which you will get here from previous year questions. What is the terms that you will get here? Resurgence, political theory, escape mechanism, orders calling. So you have to use these type of things when you are writing or when you are upgrading your answer. Now, if your answer is having these things, then definitely your answer is going to have substantiation. You are going to get best marks or highest marks, more than 330. I said you on day one. My aim of taking this class is you people have to get 330. How you will get? The framework, you will get this by framework of answer writing. 1. Using political thinkers analysis. 2. Using subject sensitive terms in answer writing. This is how you have to frame. Three things: framework, thinkers, terms. Enough, more than enough, right? And we'll understand the subject anyhow. I am going to say you subject and I am going to make you to analyze that also. So this is what you get from previous year questions, and that is the beauty of previous year questions. Many people don't prepare previous year questions, unfortunately, but this is, even if they prepare, they just read previous year questions. Reading is not important, analyzing is important. Analyzing means this one. Look at this. I have not started into the subject at all. But from previous year questions itself, you got an understanding that, okay, this starts at somewhere, this ends at somewhere, it has some loopholes. As a result, it's researched. The entire thing is that. The first chapter is that, right? Normative theory, scientific approach, I said this. The first chapter is all about this. How you got it? You got it from previous year questions itself. Hence, previous year questions are very important. And that is the reason why I take, in every chapter, I take previous year questions first. And that is the reason why I asked you should have these papers with you, right? You should have these papers with you, and you have to bring all the questions like this at one platform. Don't do that dual work. I am doing it from my end. So you can, I will be sharing it, the PPT in the group. You can be using that. Right, this is the first thing that I wanted to say about PSIR. What I said so far, PSIR, I didn't enter into the subject as such, political science and international relations. So we are not dealing with international relations. International relations is second paper. We'll start international relations. But in the first paper, you have political science. In order to understand what is political science, you have to understand what is political theory, what is political philosophy, what is political science, right? That is the thing. But in order to understand political science, you have to understand how the subject has evolved, right? In order to understand how the subject has evolved, first thing is, what are the various approaches? What was in the olden days? What was in the new days? Where it has fallen back? Where it has researched? Right. Now this is the questions. So what I said so far, I quickly rewind. I said previous year questions. I said first thing is which book you have to read, refer to this. The basic book is this one. I'll share it in the group. You can have a look at it. Right. This is first book. Don't go for OP Goba immediately. Go for this book. One chapter is enough. One or two chapters in this. Right. This is the thing. And this is one advantage. This is IGNO book. I was speaking about the same thing. If you are doing IGNO, right, even for degree course, they are taking 3,000 for Open University. Even if you apply for Open University degree course also for political science, you are going to get the books, right? That is one advantage. Nonetheless, that is your choice, your life, your wish. But what I am going to say is, this is the book that you have to refer. The second thing is, the second thing that I wanted to say is how the subject, previous year questions. What I said, what are the things that I am going to discuss. But before that, what is the previous year questions? What you got from previous year questions? One thing is what UPSC is asking from this topic. One, two, what the subject actually is. Three, one political commentator. Four, how to write the answers for this framework. What is the framework for this? Four, and five, what I said, how you have to frame the answers over a period of time, right? Remember, answer writing is, again, answer writing is Brahma creating a human body. Always remember that. I will make you to understand answer writing much depth when I am saying about answer writing practice in mains. What is SS words, Rohita? Guys, if you are typing something, don't type personally. You make it visible to all, right? If you have any questions, what is that SS, Rohita?
Subject sensitive words.
Yeah, subject sensitive words, right? Good. Subject sensitive words. Terms. This is the thing. In order to get more than 330 plus, framework, thinkers, subject sensitive terms, right? These are important. Now, having said this, this is the first thing that I wanted you to understand. Now, going into what is political theory, what is political science. Now, in order to understand what is political theory, first thing that you have to understand is what is political, what is theory. Right? There are two terms here, political and theory. No one will ask you, but this is to analyze. First of all, what is theory? Newton's laws of motion is a theory. Newton's laws of motion is theory, or it is a law. Newton has proposed it. A law, laws of motion has been proposed. Now, what is theory? Before that, you have to understand what is hypothesis. Hypothesis, what is theory, what is a law. There are three terms in every subject. There will be three terms: hypothesis, theory, law. Now, hypothesis, if you are a science student, you might be knowing this. In your BTech, you might have studied this. Hypothesis is a philosophy or saying something which we know without having a solid evidence. Hypothesis is saying something without having solid evidence. Hypothesis is just proposal of something. This might have happened because of this, right? This is called hypothesis. Without solid evidence, proposing something is called hypothesis. Whereas theory is something which is backed up by certain facts, which is backed up by certain facts and observations, which is something which is backed up by facts or observations. Law is this observations taking the concrete form. Concrete form. Law is observations taking in concrete form. Example, let me tell you with a small example. See, today I created mains 100 days batch, right? This is what you know. We have created this. Today I have created this separate group. Now think that there is one student whom I have not added here, right? Whom I have not added into this batch. Now what she will think? Say she is also preparing exclusively for mains program, but she is Telangana student. This is what her dilemma is. She is Telangana and she is preparing for exclusively mains program, and she wanted to be a part of 100 days batch. Now I have not added her in the batch. Think that I have not added her in the batch. I have not added her. Now what she will think first? She will think, the first thing that she will think is, why sir has discriminated me? Right? Why sir has discriminated me? That is the first question that she will raise. Now what is that answer? This, she tries to get some hypothesis. She tries to think and she tries to develop an abstract view. Right? The moment she sees the list, if his name is not in the list, what she will think? Why sir has not added me? Then she will form a set of idea. This might be the reason. This might be the reason. So the first response are the reasons that she lists out without any facts. Whatever she thinks, this might be the reason. What might be the reason? I have not paid rupees 1000. That is why sir has not added me in the list. This might be one proposal that she might be thinking. Right? Now, this is called hypothesis. This is called hypothesis. One thing is, I have not paid the fees. Maybe sir have created this group only for those guys who have paid the fees. I have not paid the fees, so even I am preparing for exclusively for mains, I am not there in the list. Guys, it will get disconnected within 1 minute. You just reconnect by using the same link. Right? This is the first thing that she has. Now she speaks to few friends. Her friends who were in the list already, whose names are in the list. She will speak to them and they say that I have paid the fees, who are in the list. Say for example, she has spoken with two guys. They say that I have paid the fees, my name is in the list. So slowly she thinks that what her conception is right. Are you understanding? Slowly she thinks that what her conception is right, because these two persons has paid the fees and